Hello and welcome to the Success Showcase. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin from the Modern Observer Group, and with me as always is Chip Janiszewski from the Hapoiness and Success GPS. Chip, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm a little bit tired from staying up to watch that awesome football game last night.
Oh, there was a football game last night? No.
Yeah, it's called the Super Bowl, and the Patriots came back from 25 down, and I was up till well after midnight watching all the interviews. So, what fun stuff. So, at least if you're a Patriots fan.
Oh, from what I've heard, even if you weren't a Patriots fan, it was a hell of a game.
Oh, absolutely amazing. So, it kind of leads pretty well into our subject for today, too, because Tom Brady, even though he's almost 40 years old, has got the body of about a 25-year-old, and that's because he works on himself all the time.
That's true. You know, we're talking about how you can improve yourself, self-improvement. And actually, yesterday's game starts us off with a really key point, which is don't give up. I mean, in last night's game, they were down going late into the third, if I'm not mistaken.
They were down by 16 points with 5.5 minutes to go.
There you go.
Touchdowns and but you hear the interviews after the game, and you're reading the paper this morning, and it was quite obvious that even though they were down 21-3 at halftime, including Brady, who never gets intercepted, throwing an 80-yard interception when they were just about to score themselves, they never got down on themselves, and they always had an attitude that they were just going to plug away, keep on plugging away, and they had confidence that they could come back and win. And they said before yesterday the biggest comeback ever in any playoff game was like 16 points, much less the Super Bowl. And they came back from 25 down midway through the third quarter. It was just absolutely amazing. And I was as surprised as anybody, even though I know what Tom Brady and the Patriots are capable of. But for them actually to go out there and pull it off when it looked like they were going to lose by 50 points was just it was just amazing. And it's a really, really good testament to just the way they totally are and how one person can really just rub off on everybody else on the team, because all the players are talking about how Brady inspired them. And that's so important. As you said, don't get down on yourself, keep plugging away. And, even if you do fail, you're one step closer towards success. So
that's it exactly. It can look like everything is stacked against you, but that doesn't mean you give up. And that mindset is key to your success. And everything you do is one step closer to what you want to be. So never give up on hitting that goal that you're aiming for.
Absolutely. I mean, we've talked about positive mindset all the time, but it is absolutely the key, and it is a choice. The team could have just looked at themselves yesterday at halftime and said, we're out of it, we're just going to coast through the second half. Or we can go out there and give it all we can. You see all the time when teams get down and people get down on stuff just because things aren't going their way, and they just kind of get up and coast towards the inevitable result instead of just picking up the pieces and, moving ahead in a positive manner. And, even if you do fail, if you go at it with a positive mindset and a positive manner, you're going to feel a whole lot better just because of the effort that you put in.
Absolutely. And another example that yesterday's game provided us with is, throughout the game, the Patriots had to watch what the Falcons were doing and learn how to counteract it. And that's very important, because you should never stop learning. Whatever else you're doing, look around you, and you never know where you're going to be able to take lessons from. When I say keep learning, I'm not just talking about traditional education, which is always key. I mean, you never want to stop learning new facts, but take a look around you and see what you can learn from the people around you, from the circumstances around you. There's always something new to pick up, and you never know where you're going to be able to apply it.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that has made Bill Belichick so great over the years, and Brady. It's funny, everybody looks at Bill Belichick as, really, really a tough taskmaster who's kind of, tough to get along with and so on and so forth. He says it's really, really hard to coach Tom Brady because Tom Brady is at least as smart as he is. So it's kind of like a tough situation with that. But you have, somebody on the field, and he said, if he brings up something that happened last week or 2 weeks ago, Tom Brady automatically has the answer as far as why it happened and what they were doing to move ahead and so on and so forth. So it's just uncanny the way that those two have interacted throughout the years. But you're right. Learning from what's going on there, and coaching is a constant process. They're always sitting there looking on the computers these days and so on and so forth as far as what's going on, and they have stuff all over the place, and they're constantly analyzing and adjusting, and they got to do it on the fly. And then halftime, you get a chance to kind of like regroup a little bit more, and it's just it's a constant process of improvement. It's a constant process of learning, like you're talking about. In the business world and in your personal life, it's great to look at the positive traits in other people and see if you got some of those things in you. And if you do, try to emulate what other people are doing. It's fantastic to be learning from your friends, hanging around with them, avoiding the negative people, taking the negativity out of your life. It's funny, Jim Rohn, the famous Jim Rohn, says you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So wherever we go, there are bound to be negative people. Don't spend too much of your time around them if you feel they drag you down, and it's so important.
That's very true. And you're not just learning from people around you, you're learning from your own actions and your own successes and failures. Every football team spends a lot of time watching film of both themselves and the opposing team to see how they did things and where they failed to do things. Every athlete watches film of their own performance to see where it is they can improve. And when you're talking about self-improvement, that's actually a very important early step, is to see what you're doing. If you don't know where your current status quo is, you really don't know how you can improve yourself. So take a good look at what you do. When something goes wrong, don't just keep going and ignore it. Analyze what you did and what the situation was and see, okay, if I had done XYZ instead of ABC, I would have gotten a different result. Take a good look and figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about sports, and really everything is so magnified there because sports is always an instance where it's constant preparation and analysis for just a few moments of action where you're under the spotlight. The good news for us in the professional world is that we can do the same thing, but we're not under the spotlight big time ourselves. But it's so important to keep preparing for what you're doing. And the bottom line is we are going to run over our bumps and so on and so forth, but we got to pick ourselves up from that and just move on. So there's a lot to be learned from the way athletes prepare themselves for different things, visualization and all that. And in our professional lives and in our personal lives, it's just so important to be working on ourselves there too, from a positive mindset, but constantly analyzing things and looking at different ways that we can get better. We've talked about SMART goals a lot and that kind of thing, but if you have your personal strategic plan going and you're working for your purpose and your passion on a daily basis, that will drive you towards doing all the things that we're talking about right now.
It certainly will. And you mentioned visualization, and that's also something that can be very important because you need to be able to see what it is you're aiming at. And I remember years and years ago when I first got my driver's license, my driving instructor basically said, you have to keep your eyes on where you want to go. If you're looking at a car, you're going to hit that car. And it's very true. You need to focus on the right thing. If you're not looking at where you want to go, you're not going to get there. Your actions will follow that focus. So if you're not focused at all, and if you're going on tangent and this way and that, you're not going to achieve the goal because you're not focused on that goal. And visualization is a great way to hone that focus. You can just imagine yourself.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking a couple of weeks ago about vision boards, and you had brought up, you can bring it up for the audience again, what you do with your vision board at the beginning of every year. A lot of people use it for vacations and things that they want to do, but you actually use this for your professional goals for the year. So
yeah, we have a vision. Yeah, we have a vision goal, vision board in for my family, and it's in the kitchen where everybody can see it. And we redo the board at the beginning of every year, and we write down what it is we want to accomplish for that year. So it gives us not just the goal to focus on, but there's sort of a time limit involved because this is this year's vision board. And next year, the board gets erased and we start over again. So sometimes things, large goals will move from year to year, but for the most part, we're taking a look at, okay, what did we set out to do and did we do it? And by putting the board in what's the equivalent of a public place for the family, everybody is reminded of it and everybody can focus on it together.
And it's so cool that you're doing this as a family and as a group of people. I mean, we talked about working with friends, but obviously as family, it's so important too. And it's a great way to maintain a positive mindset if you're all working on positive goals together, because automatically you're picking each other up. If you're going get a bump on the road towards the goal that you're doing, and you got to move it around a little bit, you're doing it as a group of people, and you're reinforcing each other rather than having an individual person saying, "Oh wow, I messed up. How am I going to get out of this?" type thing. So that's a great exercise to use as a family, as a group of friends, and a business, is to be working on that together. And a vision board to do that, to accomplish that, is just an amazing way to do that. So kudos to you for coming up with that.
Thank you. And it also helps us with accountability, because by putting these goals out and saying, okay, this is what I'm working on for this year, everybody knows what we're doing. So periodically we check in with each other. What have you done to get there? How's that coming? The kids see what we're working on, so they pitch in and we help them with their goals. And it really does become more of a team effort, which one holds each of us accountable for what we're trying to do to get to those goals. But it also takes pressure off because we're not doing it alone. There's somebody else helping out.
Yeah, and it's great. It's a great example that you're setting as parents as far as teaching your kids to do that, because you're actually doing it with them, rather than just, looking down on them saying, I'm your dad and you're the kids and this is the way it's done. You're actually all involved in the process together, which makes it theirs too, which is so important. We talked about last week about winning friends and influencing people, and one of the biggest keys there is to make whatever you're doing with somebody their idea, through influencing them rather than, coming down on them and saying, do this, do that, and whatever. And that's just a great way to do it.
And it also shows, I've always, and I don't remember who it was that said this originally, but there was an old saying, whatever you expect from somebody, chances are you will get it. So if you expect somebody to be a screw up, they're going to be a screw up. If you expect great things from someone, they're going to do great things. And the vision board helps us with this, because it shows the kids have goals. We expect that they are capable of getting to these goals, and they know we expect that of them, and they tend to live up to that. So it's not, I'm telling you this is what you have to do. It's showing we have the faith in you that you are capable of this. Now go show us. And generally they do.
They're part of developing it in the first place. That's so important. So
now, we also mentioned earlier about learning from what's around you and learning from yourself. But there is also traditional learning is a huge part of self-improvement. And periodically a story will appear in the news, and I always find it depressing, about a town or a city that has to cut back on the hours of the public library because they don't have the budget and the library is not being used. The library is an amazing resource to help you improve yourself. With all of the books, audiobooks, DVDs, databases, free internet access, your library gives you all of these resources for you to use, and they're free for the taking. All you have to do is go sign up for a library card.
Yeah, and a lot of people, including yours truly, don't spend enough time there. But the bottom line is that libraries have kept up with the times, and they provide all the resources that you can get, at home or on the internet and that kind of thing. And they also have a lot of programs there to help you out with that. Because one of the things that you always did use at the library is somebody to help you research things and whatever, and that direction is still there, and more so than ever. There's a lot of libraries that have business programs going on where you can go to night classes about this and that and whatever. So if you check out your local library's calendar or events, chances are you can go attend something there. But yes, that's so important, and you're right. It is sad that they're being so underutilized right now, and I think it's just a matter of making it more public and talking it up more so that people realize, oh yeah, I should be going to the library.
I mean, people really do need to realize that they're still relevant. I mean, people, tend to think of, well, that's where I go to look up facts. I don't need that. I have Google. But Google's not going to give you classes and workshops. I know a number of libraries periodically put on art shows. And they have access to what can be some fairly expensive databases that we're not going to have access to on our own because of the cost. But the library gives us access, and a lot of them you don't even have to go to the library to use. You can log in from your home computer.
Yep, and they have business CDs and things like that you can listen to in your car without having to pay the $15, $20 to get those. And there's just all kinds of resources there to use. And people just forget that they're there.
That's it. And they also tend to have some fantastic workshops. I've personally done several workshops at our local library for job seekers. They have for business owners, for recent grads entering the job market. They even have just hobby groups. I know the local library here has a writers group. They have a group that's just a book club. They have a group about knitting. All of these things you can use to improve yourself and connect with other people who are trying to do it too.
Yeah, in our neck of the woods, the Simsbury, Connecticut Library is amazing. And for years, actually since the last century, they've been doing these business programs at night and so on and so forth. And when I went into the professional world as a web designer, I gave a little class on web design way back in the late 90s. And recently I've done one on networking and personal development and that kind of thing. But if you just go to the Simsbury Library website, they have all these different things that they have going on there, usually on Wednesday nights, and it covers a whole bunch of different skills. And if you actually want to get involved yourself and you want to teach somebody, you can actually go in there and work with the gal in there and set up your own program. And it's just a great opportunity to do things. And obviously libraries are a great place to just go meet with other people too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, especially when you have so many people who are working in their homes now and you're not surrounded by people, it is a great place to get out, do some work. I know everybody thinks, oh, the local coffee shop. Well, you know what? The library is a better place to work because you've got more resources. And you can still connect with people, meet with people, even get help on doing the research that you need to make your business or your job a success.
Absolutely. So get out there and go to the library. And if you can get a group of people together to really, really start helping them out, I think that would be a fantastic thing to do. It's, we talk about business and networking and so on and so forth and available opportunities. But we also talk about throwing your own party. And if you wanted to just go do your own event, chances are you may be able to do that at the library, and it's great publicity for what you're doing and for what they're doing. And so it's just think outside the box and use the library because they are going to be there for you.
Exactly. Now, of course, we've been talking a lot about, mindset and learning, and all of this is how you can improve your mind and your skills. Your mind and skills all rely on your body, and you can improve your body as well. Now, at the beginning of the year, so many people go, well, this year I'm going to lose weight and I'm going to join a gym. Every gym has that rush of membership at the beginning of January that, by mid-February has already started to wane. But you don't need to make a big commitment like that in order to get in better shape and keep your body functioning well. It could be as simple as going for a walk every day.
Yeah, I mean, the key is to get started. And obviously, if your goal is to lose 30 pounds this year, that's not going to happen in one foul swoop. However, if you can start just getting into the habit of, say when you get home from work, instead of sitting down and watching TV with a snack, going for a 30-minute walk a few times a week, that's going to help you out big time. And the bottom line is if you are exercising, it helps everything about you. Your brain's working better and everything else is. And that just a sense of exhilaration after you're done it's just fantastic. So it's never too late to just start a routine and just do it. Set up your own 30-day challenge and just say, okay, I'm going to take a walk every other day for the next 30 days and block it off on the calendar and check it off when you're done. Play these games with yourself and it will help.
Exactly. And your physical condition is a direct result of your health, and that affects your mind, that affects your spirit. It's all tied in. So when you're physically fit, let's face it, we're in the middle of winter here. Cold and flu season is here. How many days do you lose because you're not feeling well? Well, if you keep yourself healthy, you can fight that off better, not lose that time. And also the exercise does help you recharge your brain as well. So it's all connected. It's all things you can do to bring yourself to that next level and think of that next goal that you're going to achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things, getting back to the mindset thing, yes, it is winter. I would rather be down under palm trees all year round instead of sitting up here in the middle of the winter. But we're looking outside, and it's just one of the most gorgeous February days today that you could ever imagine. And talk about a positive mindset. The sky is never bluer than it is during the winter. And there's absolutely not an ounce of pollution out there. And I'm looking out in my backyard with the trees and the blue skies and the clouds and squirrels running all over the place having a great old time. Just get into the moment and really contemplate on that. We talk about meditation and things to slow your mind down and just appreciate what's going on in front of you without judging what's going on in front of you. And that's a huge way to do that. And getting back to taking a walk, that's a fantastic way to take a walk, is to just notice everything that's around you without judging it and appreciating the beauty that's around you, despite the fact that it's 30 degrees out there.
That's it. I have a friend of mine who every morning, no matter how cold, no matter how hot, as long as it's not, a blizzard or a monsoon, she goes out every morning with her camera and she takes photos of the nature that's all around her. And the photos are absolutely phenomenal. She posts them online for people to see, inspiring them. But they all give her that energy she needs to get through the day because she's got that immediate reminder every morning of look at everything that's around her.
Yeah, we've talked about gratitude journals in the past, and that to me sounds like it's just a very, very visual gratitude journal. What a way to do things. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great way to do things. Again, everything we talk about, you have to individualize to yourself. You have to understand what's going to work for you and adapt these things so that you're actually going to use them. There's a commercial on television now. I'm pretty sure it's for exercise equipment. I don't remember which manufacturer. But it starts out by saying, the problem with your workout is that you're not doing it. And that's very true. And it's very easy for someone to say, oh, take 30 minutes and go for a walk every day. But you're the one that actually has to figure out, okay, when can I fit this into my schedule? How can I do this? Well, I'm putting in a 13-hour day. I don't have the strength to go for a walk afterwards. There's little things you can do to adapt your everyday to always be improving. For example, if you're going to an office every day, park further away and walk from the car to your office. The whole thing takes maybe an extra, 3-4 minutes? But doing that every day is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely is. There's a great book out there called Take the Stairs. I think it was written by Rory Vaden. And that's exactly what it's about. It's just going, instead of living life comfortably, just reaching out a little bit and doing that. And it's a fantastic book that I highly recommend. Rory Vaden's made a pretty good career out of that book. But it's Take the Stairs by Rory Vaden, and that's what it's all about. Walk up the stairs instead of taking the escalator.
That's it. When I was in corporate, I worked at a company, it was 4-story building, and my exercise for the day was that I never took the elevator. I walked up and down the stairs no matter where I was going, because I knew I got in too early to do a morning workout. By the time I got home, I was exhausted. I wasn't going to work out, in the evenings after that. So I just always walked up and down the stairs wherever I was going to make sure I at least got some exercise in during the day.
Yeah, and that keeps you going in a whole lot more healthy manner during the day, too, instead of just sitting around for a while and then all of a sudden turning it on for a little bit and then going. I mean, part of the deal is it may be intimidating to go out and work up a sweat and so on and so forth. And if you make that part of your routine, just like you're talking about, just these little habits help out so much.
Absolutely. Well, we're coming to the end of our time. So, Chip, what do you think is the one thing you want our audience to take away from this conversation?
Go to the library. Use it, support it, help it out. It's fabulous.
I'm going to go a little broader. Pay attention to the resources around you. See what you've got access to. See who's doing what around you, and take advantage of the resources you have available. They may seem very small, but every little bit counts. So this has been the Success Showcase. Catch us every week on blogtalkradio.com/Success Showcase or on the Apple Podcasts app or the iTunes store.